Welcome.
It's your friends,
April,
Jenna,
Claire,
and Nate.
this is the
Only KADs Podcast.
We're glad you're here.
Let's get to it.
Yeah, did you shave? Are you always that short in the beard?
I shaved
I
a
don't know.
while ago.
I don't know anything about getting white chin hairs, Nate. So
So I have a gnarly white chest hair. It's just like this single hair that's just like sticking out of my chest. It looks like the reverse, like alien, like because instead of it being black, it's white. It's just like shooting out of my chest. It's very weird. I noticed it when I was at the gym the other day.
do you have other chest hair? Like, do you have chest hair in general?
Yeah, I have like other like it's not like I'm not like I'm not like woolly or anything like that. I'm just like there's sporadic chest hair, but then there's this one that is just this silver thing sticking out.
the silver
Wild.
fox. So, question for you, Nate. Do you
Lone-
work out
lone-
shirtless? Is that how you
No.
noticed it?
Mm-mm.
Were you like
No, I was
in front of the
changing.
mirror, like
No.
flexing?
No,
Ooh,
I was
what's that?
changing. I was changing. No, if I worked out shirtless, it would be like it would be just a sweaty mess. It would be just a waterfall. So like my shirts when I'm done running are completely soaked. It's like I put on a darker, damper shirt somewhere in the midst of my running. So
Do men want to have chest hair? Is that like a thing?
I think we want to have chest hair because we think that some women like chest hair.
Oh.
No, I don't require chest
Yeah,
hair.
I don't actually care one way or the other. But I think that's like this weird, I don't know if it's a Western society thing of like chest hair being masculine and, you know, overtly just male, like a type of thing. So yeah, and I think that, we talk about stereotypes. So kind of jumping into our topic for this week, month, whatever we do. Um, like I don't have really a whole lot of hair on my arms and my legs, like hardly any at all. Like it's weird, especially on my arms and my legs. So like I don't know if that's part of like this stereotype or this misperception of Asian men for the longest time not being viewed as very masculine, because we're not like big hairy beasts, out there foraging or whatever. I don't know. But like yeah, this is kind of I don't know. It's just it's a weird thing. I don't know if that's a part of it that plays into it. Like like no hair. You know what I'm saying? Like on my legs, really, on my
You
arms.
you do have a
But
nice
this took forever, though. When I tell you this took forever, as in like we're talking like into my 30s before I really felt like there was something here of any substance. And honestly, I am deathly afraid of shaving it off because it may not come back. Like that's a fear that like realistic fear. Like if I shave this thing, is it gonna come back? Because it took so long. Took so long to get this. So
I want to say for the record that I dated a guy one time, white guy, with just a rug. I mean, like you haven't seen an actual rug like this in your life, and it was on his chest. It was a lot. And I did not find this to be I did not think he could hunt for me any better because he had this hair. I did not find him more attractive because he had this hair. And I never thought about, the stereotype of Asian men maybe not being as masculine and if it had anything to do with hair. So that's interesting to think about. I just know that I waited a long time in, middle school. All my friends were shaving their legs and I was like waiting. Well, I'll get there, guys. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting to have to shave my legs. And then the phase of everyone's like, "Oh, you don't have to shave your legs yet." And now, of course, all my girlfriends are like, "That's pretty awesome that you don't have to shave."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it
yeah.
is. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
I
asked a lot
was
of times if I was a swimmer. Like, are you a swimmer? I'm like, no. Like, why your legs are so smooth? I'm like, thanks.
You're like a seal.
Yeah.
You're a baby
I don't
seal.
I don't think that the hairless look is bad at all. Like I was in the bodybuilder world for many years and all the hair is taken off. Like you shave, wax. I don't know what the guys do to get that clean bare skin look, but they take care of it, and so there's like no leg hair, there's no chest hair, there's no back hair. But I did date a guy who was bodybuilder, but he shaved his chest, so it was like always stubbly and it was very uncomfortable. I didn't like it. It would like give me rashes and like I don't like that. Just if you're gonna just wax it, right? Just wax it or nair. I think that was a thing back in the 80s. We should bring it back.
Women don't want any situation where we get any kind of rash from a man.
Yeah.
Any kind of
Agreed.
friction burn of any kind. Like I've even seen women talk about how they were with men with rough beards and then they got like rug burn on their face, but the beard was dirty, so they got like a staph infection. So you know what, Nate? It's probably not a terrible thing that you don't have a lot of facial hair.
Yeah, like I said, I think I don't know. I attribute to like this Western culture of just thinking of like big burly men and they're typically hairy. And
Yeah.
so I think that kind of leads into the stereotype of like, Asian men not being like masculine or tough enough or, that type of thing. So
Well, Jenna, you're into the lumberjack look. Do you find yourself with a lot of burly, hairy guys? Oh, well, yeah, there was a rug guy.
Well, yeah, I was in my 20s, there weren't a lot of options. Not an excuse, kind of an excuse. First, I do want people to write in about this. If you're listening to this, I want to know, onlykadspod@gmail.com, what we think about body hair and masculinity. And whether we think that's a Western thing, if women think that, if you're a woman, do you think that's more attractive? It's probably a individual preference choice, right? But I will say, Asian men with a smooth back and chest, there ain't nothing wrong with that. I don't know that I can go back.
It's not a turn on when you're in the middle of things and then you reach up into a clammy wad of hair on the shoulder. That's
April.
So, I'm just saying.
and the same goes for men too. We don't want to reach up into a clammy wad of hair.
Sweaty wad of hair.
Want a clammy wad of hair on it? Okay. Ladies, take note. But I was saying on a serious but also not serious note, I was with a friend named Sarah this weekend in Seoul. I sort of take the time to lay over in Seoul before I head back to the remote island of Jeju. And she's a Korean adoptee. And we're both kind of in this like single again dating phase, finding ourselves. And there is this moment, or there was for us, we've talked about this before, like only white guys around in our neighborhoods and, like what was the ideal beauty standard that we saw on TV, blah, blah, blah. Tale as old as time that we all talk about. And then there was a moment for each of us where it clicked over into, oh, now I am seeing more Asian men. And now I live in Korea and I see Korean men all the time. And there has been a click. So to answer your question, Claire, yeah, I mean, 6 foot tall white guy with a beard, right? That, those were the men who were in my orbit and who like were hitting on me. And so therefore, I was like, okay. And now I don't think I can ever go back. I now identify as only wanting hairless Asian men. But Buffalo Plaid is great because it reminds me of Hallmark movies, which do all feature white men. But the love and the being romantic in the country fireside chat with the bearskin rug and the log cabin. It just is what it is.
Well, having a Korean lumberjack, that's representation. Maybe that could be the next Hallmark film, Korea is very popular right now.
Korean rednecks.
There was just an adoptee that was on like some sort of country music competition thing. There's a Korean adoptee that was just on a country music competition, and he sings country music, and so like it's, there's definitely representation out there. I think his name is Cody. I didn't watch the series, but yeah, he's a CAD and he's out there singing country music.
Very
So,
cool.
I love it.
yep.
That's very cool. I love stereotypes. I do. I I do. I know
Do you,
because they can be silly, they can be serious. So I went to ChatGPT to look up what are some Asian stereotypes. And ChatGPT, love it, hate it, indifferent, whatever you are about it. It was really funny because I just use it as a tool, just like Google. And I said, give me some Asian stereotypes in the West. And it was very polite. Oh, well, the model minority and this. And I said, okay, cool. I know you're being very polite, but give it to me. Give me the good, the bad, the ugly, the inappropriate. I said, I'm using it to make a point. Like I'm not actually, I am Asian. Like I'm arguing with ChatGPT. And ChatGPT was like, I understand what you're trying to do, but I am not going to give you in an inappropriate form. So that being said, I thought for our listeners and for our folks viewing on YouTube, you can say yes and or raise your hand, probably both, to the following, and then we can talk about it. Okay. So Nate, Claire, April, are you good at math?
hell
Slash
no.
I used to be. Not now. Like I used to be on like oh God,
Well,
the math teams and all that stuff for competition and not now.
wow, look at you, April. I'm impressed.
stereotype,
I
Nate?
was, yeah, Nate, what about you?
So I took AP Calc and AP Trigonometry.
Ooh.
Now, here is the caveat to that, is that everybody in my school, and I'm gonna out everybody that graduated from my high school in 2000, well, in the year 2000 and in 2001, because we all cheated off of one person in both classes. Everybody cheated off of a guy named Nat. Nat was probably one of the smartest kids in our class. He was a year younger than me. Also took these same math classes. Our teacher, who was the same teacher for both classes, trig and calculus, would inexplicably just leave the room. She was very flighty, not very focused at times, and she would just leave. She was a little bit older, and everybody would then turn to Nat, rush him, get the answers, and then go back. I will be honest with you. I don't know that I actually did any of my homework or took any of my tests for those classes. I'm 95% sure I copied all of them from Nat. And we all passed. That's the thing, is that we passed. And
Was not Asian?
no,
Gonna ask.
Nat
What?
was like the nerdy white dude. He's just like a little nerdy white dude. And super nice because he let everybody cheat off of him. He didn't like fight or argue with us. Everybody's like, Nat, what did you get for 15? What did you get for 16? Nat, just give us your answers. And he's like, okay. And he just hand us his homework, and we would
You
just all
didn't have to
copy it.
bribe? You didn't have to
No,
bribe Nat?
nothing. Yeah, like I said,
Wow.
like in nobody did their work except for Nat. I'm telling you, nobody actually passed that class. He was the
This
only one.
teacher, like this
So
teacher isn't noticing that every single one of her students has the exact same like work, for this math
again, she would just, I'll put it this way. She once bragged to us that she took belly dancing in college as a
Okay.
Interesting.
class.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's a brag. I'm
It was a
impressed. I'm
solid
impressed.
brag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, you got to look at this as from the lens of a 11th and 12th grader, and she's probably at the time in her mid to late 50s. You're just like, I don't really want to picture my trig teacher belly dancing. And so,
Why
like,
not?
yeah, she just did not, did not project the image of what you would think a traditional belly dancer would be.
Oh, come on now. That's a
So
flex. That's a flex in my book.
yeah, but like I mean, she told everybody, and it was like I said, it was she would just leave, and it was bad because some our classmates would be like, "Hey, um, I'm missing something, or I need something. Can you go to the office and get it for us?" And she'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'll be right back," and she'd just leave the room, and we would all copy the test or copy the homework for the day.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah, I did not do any work in either of those two classes. So yeah.
I was in the lowest possible math class in college. I barely passed my math in high school. And once I got to college, I had to like retake those remedial math classes just because I had to get in those core classes. And the funny thing was, everyone in my class thought I think I was the only Asian person in my math classes. And everyone else thought I was super smart just because I'm Asian, right? So they're always trying to bribe me to get my notes or to, I don't know, like to get me to tell them the answers. And I'm like, okay, so I was there, like not actually taking bribes, but okay, so my math class was all football players. Because I guess none of them could pass either. So they're all looking to me to try to get my notes and to try to study and cheat off of me. And the joke's on them because I didn't know anything. But they were all trying to get to me. And their way to do it was to, I guess, try to like date me or to sleep with me. So I had all the football players trying to date me. And yeah, the joke was on them because I didn't know shit. Nothing.
And that's why you don't stereotype kids.
And I want to have some sort of opinion about what Nate did in high school, but on the other hand, did you ever use trigonometry or calc in your entire life? Like, no.
No,
So,
no.
but kids, if you're listening, don't cheat
Don't cheat. Do your homework.
or do drugs.
Honestly, reading is the only course that you really need to invest in. Just read.
Yeah. What about string instruments? Did anyone play the cello or the violin or the oboe?
I played piano.
I played piano.
Were you forced into it or did you volunteer?
I liked it and was good at it, but didn't know that I was good at it because when you can do something, you don't know that it's good, right? And I was such a stressed out hot ball of mess and anxiety and perfectionism when I was in high school that I ended up quitting 10 years of piano lessons, guys. It
Oh,
used to be so good. I could
Wow.
play like all the things, the ragtime, the entertainer, the Mozart. Yeah, I don't remember anything anymore. It's
same.
thousands of dollars my mother spent down the drain.
I'm sure it's still in there somewhere. If you had to, I bet if you had the music in front of you, you'd be able to play it.
I played another instrument though in the marching band.
Uh,
Would anyone like to guess?
Tuba.
Trumpet.
The ukulele?
There a ukulele in the marching band?
Oh.
I don't know.
A
I don't know.
The flute.
Everyone does always guess flute, and I always say, "How dare you?"
This one time at band
What
camp.
kind?
Oh, no, I was the head drummer of my marching band. I played the snare
Oh,
drum.
Wow.
I
yes.
led all the boys and I led all the band. It was a very small band. But I did it because I was in the pit playing like the xylophone, the bells, because for some reason my mom really pushed hard. You should join marching band. And I really thought she thought, okay, if I'm very scared of my teenage girl she could get into sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So instead, let's get her into the marching band. And little did she know, like the marching band people were hooking up with each other the most. Like they were doing the most sex, drugs, and rock and roll
Mhm.
in high school. But anyway, so my freshman year, one of the older guys, his name was Bill Chase. I'll always remember that. He was a junior. And he was 6 foot tall, didn't have a beard yet, but probably someday would have. He probably does today. And he was like, you're little and a woman and Asian. You can't play the drums. Now, he didn't say this, but that was implied in his tone. So then I was like, I'll show you. Because back then I was very much like, if you told me I couldn't do something, I was like, okay, now, yeah, I'm going to do it. And so by the time I was a senior, I was head drummer. He had already long graduated, but I think he knew he was wrong.
Word got back to him.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. He was taken back. So for sure, I was the center of his universe. Absolutely. I like how we're calling out all these people from high school. Nat, Bill. Claire, do you remember any of these football guys' names who were like trying to bribe you?
Not a one. Nope.
Oh my God, I bet they remember you though.
Well, she helped them pass so they could keep playing, I'm sure. The coach probably
No,
remembers
they did
her.
not. If they passed, it was not because of me.
Oh, okay. That's right. That's right.
Are any of you bad drivers?
Define bad driver.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking about speeding tickets, I'm a very bad driver. But if we're talking about like accidents, no accidents. I've never killed someone on the road. I've never done anything like really bad on the road. But like, yeah, like I've sped.
So no vehicular manslaughter is Claire's threshold
No.
for being a good driver.
Well, what's your definition, April, of a bad driver? Let's hear it.
I mean, would you want to ride in the car with that person as the driver, I guess? You know what I mean? Like, are you stomping your foot for the brake or like clutching your pearls and grabbing onto whatever? I mean, I think I'm a cautious driver is what I have been told. I need to be a little bit more aggressive because you can be too cautious and then that can make you a bad driver. If you're too tentative, it's like choose one. Being in Ohio, I think has helped with that though, because you just have to mean it. Whatever choice you're making, that's the one you're going with, and there's no take backsies.
Here's a tip to be more aggressive. You have to think about it like when you're coming up, like going towards someone and you're like not sure who's got the right of way or who's gonna go first. You have to think like, I've got the bigger balls. I've got the bigger balls, and just go. That's my tip.
Do they know that you have the bigger balls though?
They know when you blow by them.
You're playing chicken on the highway.
Yes. Yes.
A feeling that Claire actually may not be a good driver.
I'm an
Based
excellent driver,
upon
Nate.
just that answer alone. Now, I was a speed demon in college. Like, I had so many speeding tickets. It was bad. And then I discovered cruise control. And cruise control has probably saved me a lot of money and time. Um, you just set it and forget it, especially adaptive cruise control now with the way cars will adjust to, the speed of the car in front of you. So that's really kind of like helped me rein myself in. Because if it's just up to me and my pedal, like we're gonna go as fast as we can. And yeah, because I want to get there as fast as I can and make up time. It's like me against the clock. If it says it's gonna take, 2 hours, I want to see if I can get there in less time and how much less time.
Okay.
But if cruise control is available, I've learned that it's probably my best friend. Will save me lots of
I was just in San Francisco and saw the self-driving cars.
Ooh.
They were weird. Very good drivers. They were very good drivers. The self-driving cars. I will tell you, living and driving in Korea, I know why the Asians get this bad reputation. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying how it is, which is that Koreans drive exactly the way they walk in crowded places. Now we're going to get to this because I do want to hear about Nate's big news. But if you've been in Korea, and if anyone listening has been in Korea, I think you're going to have a light bulb moment if you've never thought about this before. When you are walking down the street in the United States of America and someone is coming at you, there could be sometimes occasionally oh, I'm going right, you're going left, like, oh, like, how do you get out of each other's way? But it's pretty rare. In Korea, they just keep on walking. You like I just learned to stop. And I do the same thing when I'm driving, which is probably terrible. And I've been told it's not good. And that's a whole lot. But they drive the same way they walk. Like, I'm just going, oh, here's an intersection. I'm just gonna go through it because I assume that no one else is coming. And I like Koreans don't hold doors for you. That's a very Western thing. They don't get out of your way. I think there's a little bit like kids will sometimes get out of your way because I think there could be like a subconscious age thing. Like, I'm going to respect the older person. But in general, like on a sidewalk, I will just stop and let someone go around me. Because
You,
I
you're
can't
gonna love
explain.
Vietnam. You're gonna love Vietnam, Jenna. When you
Yeah,
come, you're gonna be like, okay, we're gonna cross the street, and they don't stop for no one.
yeah.
It's like Frogger. You just kind of dodge the traffic and hope you live.
Yeah, I think that yeah. And so yeah, it's a whole thing. And driving is something over here. You really got to get used to the nunchi of the way the road rules are, because there are unspoken rules, like when you're on the highway and think, you can kind of like guess and anticipate where people are, what it's a whole new thing over here. It probably took me a year and a half to really feel comfortable driving over here. It's it's crazy. And Southeast Asia, I wouldn't even try. I wouldn't even try.
Oh no, no, I'm not ever gonna try either.
Mm-mm.
I like getting the grab motorbikes. I get to ride on the back seat and just wrap my arms around the grab driver, and I get my hugs all day long, and they get me from my house to wherever I need to go, and it's like $1 or less every ride. Come on, you can't ride for cheaper than that.
Have you ever been mistaken for another Asian, or has someone else been mistaken for you?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
Nate.
1,000%.
Because Nate, I feel like you are a pretty distinct looking person. No?
Not the white people. No,
Mm-mm. No.
no. So I used to sell appliances and electronics in Nashville, and there was this guy named Terry, and Terry is, I believe he's Samoan. And he's kind of a short, stocky guy, probably has maybe like 75 pounds on me, big round face, super nice dude, right? Um, you know, like, and if you put us beside each other, like it's Bert and Ernie. We don't look the same, right? Clearly, we're not related in any way. We, are not of the same people. Like, there is a clear difference. When I tell you how many times I had to tell customers my name was not Terry, or he would be like, yeah, one of your people came in and thought I was you. I helped him out whenever I explained I wasn't Nate. So like, yeah, you would think, you know, um, but no, yeah, it's a lot of people just they just see a brown face and just kind of meld us all together as one person, and so one brown face looks like another, and that's how they go. Yeah.
Bert and Ernie. I just, when we were in Atlanta for last year's KAAN conference, I did not have my driver's license on me, and I used Claire's passport
Yeah.
to get into the bar.
Do you remember that? Because we were
Yes.
in line and I was like, oh my God, Claire, give her your passport.
Jenna, I've been using that trick ever since college, before I was legal to get into bars. I've been using other people's passports. Yeah. I mean, come on. White people can't tell us apart, and we can use
I'm
that.
like it would never have occurred to me. Like, honestly, it never would have occurred to me. I'm such a rule follower, but as soon as so April, was it you, whoever
It was
suggested
me.
it, it's like, oh, yeah. And, and not looking anyway. It's just
Yeah.
like a courtesy, like, okay, look, But I was like, yeah, you got to use racism to your advantage, guys. I mean,
We laughed
Mhm.
so hard at that night. That was hilarious. Because also, like, Claire wasn't that far behind Jenna, and like it took almost half of the group before it dawned on me to say, Claire, give her your passport. It was like Jenna, two people, then Claire. So if he was even looking at the name,
Right.
Yeah,
but yeah,
right.
we all still got to have a great time.
It was a great time.
was.
Such a good
It
time.
was.
But so here's the inverse to that is that for those of us that grew up in uh predominantly white communities, we also then stick out. Like
Mm,
everybody in that community remembers who we are. Like,
Mhm.
and so I don't know if this has happened to you, but you go back to quote unquote your hometown, and people just instantly know who you are and start talking to you as if you were best friends in school. And you're like, dude, I don't remember you.
yeah,
And pretty much the only reason why they remember you is because you were the Asian kid that went
yeah,
to school. Like it works against you in that fact. It's just like, oh, you just stick out, and like because you stick out, people just instantly remember who you are. Meanwhile, you could give, two craps, and you're just like, yeah, man, that was a while.
in my hometown, it was me and a Taiwanese girl, and her family immigrated and owned the Chinese restaurant in town. She had the Taiwanese American, like that Taiwanese English accent. So she and I would joke all the time, how do people not tell just by talking to us that we're not the right person? We both had round faces. We somehow managed to always dye our hair the same unintentionally. And she's like, that you have a very Appalachian Logan accent. I do not. And I'm over here being like, yeah, that's not
I,
me.
other Asians also stereotype other Asians, which is, I don't know what to call it. I can't think of the appropriate adjective. But one of my funniest stories was small town, Hellertown, Pennsylvania, in southeast Pennsylvania, which was the closest town to where I grew up in the woods. And I remember I parked my car. I had to double park for some reason in like one of the strip mall places there. And I run in and it's a Chinese food restaurant. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I have to leave my car here for like 5 minutes. I'll be right back. And the guy said, oh, do you work at the dry cleaner like down the street? I was so young that it didn't register with me. But I was like, I just like, why is this guy asking me this? Like,
Hmm.
no, I don't.
Oh,
And
God.
anytime I get my nails done, it hasn't happened within the past probably 10 years, but I used to get my nails done and they would sit and the nail technician would be like, are you Korean? And I would always think maybe they're asking me because they are also Korean. But I think I just do have very like Korean features. And I would say, oh yes, I am. Are you? And they'd always be like, no,
Mm-mm.
we're
Yeah.
Vietnamese or whatever. And so I wonder why they're asking. And then I had a friend, white girlfriend, who lived in Thailand for a long time. So when I told her I was moving here, she was like, oh, a lot of Asia thinks that Korea is, they're the top-notch Asians. If there's a hierarchy, Korea's up there.
I always thought that white people were so obsessed with knowing what kind of Asian I am, but the Asians are
Asians,
more obsessed.
right?
They have to know. They have to
Yes.
know.
The nationalism is real over
Yeah.
there. Like,
Yeah.
even with the cooking show that I hosted the other day, and it's a different brand. It's not racism like we see it here in the US. It is truly nationalism. And it is because they are still living the consequences of what occupation and war was between, especially China, Japan, and Korea, right? And she made the comment of, yeah, Koreans don't like Chinese people. And she said, I'm not being racist. I'm just teaching about my culture. And, I laughed in the moment because I understood what she was saying. And her husband was just appalled because he was like, people don't understand, like you're going to put out this false representation of Korean people and yourself, and they're going to think you're a bad person. Her English isn't great, so it was difficult for her to fully elaborate and explain. Like, there in Korea, they kind of feel like they're past hating the Japanese people because there's been enough time past, they've mended fences. But she was like, but China, it's still happening.
It is real over here. My kids, who are 6 and 9 and go to school with all Koreans, my kids have come home and said derogatory things about Chinese people. And I'm like,
oh God. Oh God.
And I've said to a couple of my Korean adoptee friends who have come over who are going to meet their birth families, Jenna, what do I need to know? And one of the things I tell them is, your family's going to be super bigoted about Chinese people. It's going to just come out in conversation. And a couple have come back and said, I'm so glad you prepared me, because it's like part of their daily conversation. You can't say, nothing can happen over here almost. Like the air quality could be bad. And my Korean friends would be like, but whatever. I'm so serious. Like, the weather could be bad. It's China. I'm like, okay. I mean, it's not funny, but yeah, it's been fascinating to sort of like watch.
Yeah. I think, like you said, it's not funny, but for those of us who grew up Asian American, we created almost a stereotype, or at least I did in my mind, that all Asians had to love each other because we're all Asian, right? Like,
yeah, you have to work together when there's only 3 of you in a town.
Yeah, right. And then you grow up and you learn, like, oh, you're the wrong Asian, so they don't want anything to do with you. So like when I was in college age and there were like Japanese exchange students, there was a reason why they looked at me kind of funny. Probably the accent too, because I was too Americanized, and that's where like the banana thing comes in, because you are also not the right type of Asian that way. But yeah, it's very interesting.
Not even getting into like skin tone, because when I was the only Asian I knew, I thought all people had like a darker complexion in Asia. Not true. All the hierarchy of like lighter skin. There's skin bleaching over here. I mean, I'm very aware that I'm tanner, so I walk around like kind of.
And you're not even that tan. I'm darker than you. And somebody was like, oh yeah, you're so dark. And I'm like, this is my winter color. She pale. Like, I'm a summer coat yet. Like, what do you mean I'm dark?
I know. I had a real moment though. Like when I met my birth father, it like I didn't obsess about it, but it crossed my mind. Like I went, we're just meeting for the first time. There is this beauty standard. Like maybe he won't think that I'm beautiful, because I am like a darker gray. And he's a farmer, and he's like he's in the sun all day long. And so like very dark skin. Plus we're from, I actually don't know if this is a thing, but we're from the South, we're from Chola. So like yes, we're darker skin because we're from, I have no idea if that's true. Anyway, I kid, but it crossed my mind. Like, I don't know. I grew up in America where you want to be tan. You don't want to necessarily be pale.
The skin bleaching thing is in Southeast Asia too. Thailand, Vietnam. There's everyone, like you said, like the nationalism, but also the classism. It's like you find that all over the world. In India, the darker their skin, the lower class. Yeah. And so it's a thing everywhere, Jenna.
Oh, did you guys hear about the Koreans and making comments about was it Malaysians? It was not a good look for our people.
Yeah, I was so embarrassed for us. I was just cringing. Yeah.
April, do you want to give a summary for people who haven't heard about?
So I think it started around a concert. Some Koreans traveled to Malaysia for a K-pop concert, and they just got racist and colorist up, and they basically called Malaysians monkeys. For those who do not know how deeply rooted the nationalism and colorism amongst Asian countries goes, a lot of Southeast Asian countries are derogatorily referred to as jungle Asians because they are living in a much more tropical climate compared to, like, say, China or Korea, and they do have darker skin tones. It feeds into that classism that is still very strong in Asia. But yeah, it was not a good look for Korean people. Because it's weird because I feel like there's a lot of movements where Korea is moving forward in some ways, like with the 4B movement.
Few bad eggs sometimes. They're probably the same people who go blame China for the weather, you know.
And probably that too, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. We're the Only KADs pod. We can't talk about Asian stereotypes without talking about the Asian stereotype, right?
What are you talking
So,
about, Jenna?
I'm just talking, wondering if we don't have to share names, but there are two very distinct stereotypes about men and women when it comes to Asians, broad sweeping strokes, where Asian women are submissive and quiet, and Asian men have small penises. I don't know. Are these stereotypes that you guys have heard before? Because I feel like I grew up hearing them. They were very overt, or, sometimes not overt, but just sort of under the layer.
Mm-hmm.
What has been your experience with both of these things?
Not true.
No,
Not true.
that's for sure.
I want to
People,
hear
are
from
you
Nate.
submissive?
I want to hear from Nate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's like I've heard them. I don't know, like I don't know. I just don't know because what's the alternative to like try and prove somebody wrong? So like somebody says that, what is your recourse in that moment? Do you know what I'm saying? So like there's not a good recourse. And that's why people say it, because they know that like for you to disprove something like that, like you would have to do something outrageous. And they're betting on you not to do something outrageous, which most people.
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes on a serious note. It comes back to the masculinity thing, right? It's a very, that type of conversation. But I just want to put out for the record, it's not true. First of all, I don't think Claire and April and I are quiet.
Yeah, would you call us submissive, Nate?
Nah.
Well, we also grew up in the West. Okay, so there's that.
There's true.
Because if you're talking about the stereotype submissiveness, like that actually is part of the patriarchy. And had we grown up in Korea, I mean, I'm willing to bet we would just conform to that submissiveness, that archetype that is required for the concept of the family, and the husband kind of leads and controls what the family does, and then there's the wife and the females who are submissive to the husband. But then actually it's the mother of the son, I think, who is in control of it all. So you can argue it's a patriarch, but it's also, I think, a matriarch. I don't know if that's typical in all Korean families, but from my friends who grew up in Korea, like Korean, that's the way it was. But I've definitely played into the stereotype of the submissive female. And I don't know, I've asked myself this for years and years and years, me being raised in the West, and I'm not that kind of person. Like, I'm all about gender equality, and I'm a feminist, okay? But I still play into that stereotype. So I don't know.
I would argue that even with me growing up in Appalachia, a lot of that submissive gender role teaching was kind of like woven into the everyday grooming of sorts. The man goes off to the coal mines and he makes good money, and his hands look like this, so your hands can look like this, and all those things that are like plastered along the back of their F-150s as they're driving down the road. I remember when I did nails, hearing all these stories of these wives coming in talking about how, oh yeah, well, like I don't do anything, I just stayed home, and when it's good, it's good. But then what happens when he don't want you no more? Because I've had women sit in my chair and be like, I don't know what to do. I graduated high school and I never got a job. I never got any education. I completely depended on him, and I don't know how to start over. Absolutely devastating. And those women exist because we were raised, even in a Western culture, to be the submissive type of woman, especially in my marriage, leaned into that. I think it was after my divorce, doing some inner work, when I kind of meant it a little bit more, because I always said I'd never be that woman. Girl, go out there, get a job, make your money. Don't. But then it's very easy to become that woman because you don't realize how deeply rooted some of those things are in your head. And you tell yourself, well, this is what a good wife would do. I'm not a quitter. I wasn't raised to just give up on my relationship.
And I think sometimes it gets confusing between the submissive stereotype and feminine energy, because I think that's like a thing. Well, a man wants a feminine partner, you want someone to make you feel like a man, but I don't think that necessarily means that you have to be submissive. Like I know plenty of couples who they definitely are very manly or feminine. They have the masculine energy, the feminine energy, but I think it's like very amazing when I can see you kind of switch it in. You can switch it on and off, and the man can kind of be a little bit more fluid into the feminine, and the woman can be a little bit more fluid into the masculine. And I don't think that has anything to do with submissiveness, but I think kind of just owning your power and being comfortable with that.
Ooh, how much does people pleasing come into play here?
Based on me doing no research or reading or unscientific anything, I think there is so much in any of these conversations, society and just society, how we take in all of those messages from birth or from the time that we enter a society, and also how we protect ourselves, like split decisions that we make in the moment based on survival, whether it's emotional survival or physical safety. I think later we can look back and say, oh, I should have acted this way, or why didn't I? But in the moment, I think those two things are so powerful, messages that we get from society and also our own survival. So I know that for me, I absolutely, like, I know I am a short, small, and for a lot of most of my career, I was very young Asian woman. And when I'm out and like, if you think that I'm not like playing up like, oh, what do you think? To like get what I want.
I do that.
You're crazy. Because I know that I do it. And I know I'm not thinking about it consciously, of course, but I know that that's going to play well because of the society we live in. I know how I look. I know that I'm talking to a bunch of like middle-aged men in my career. And I know that this is the goal that I have. And I know this is how I'm going to achieve it because those are the skills and what I have. So some of it is how often do we play into it as well for our own benefit, but also survival. It's a lot of different moving parts. And if we continue doing it, are we continuing to play into stereotypes that are just kind of
Does that
perpetuating?
Well, let's talk about the other gender stereotype that you had introduced.
That's not true.
It is not true.
Some research, not purposeful research for that purpose, but in my research, it's not true.
In your experience.
The insight?
For science.
For science. And to support our male counterparts, we just want to put it out there. Not only is it not true, but it's, I would say, leaning towards the other end of the spectrum. I'm not sure where the stereotype came from, but
I would agree with that. Honestly, the smallest that I've ever seen was not, no, I haven't seen a lot of Asian men, probably two in my entire life, but of all of
all two of them.
Of all two of them,
all two of them have been
very, very good. The smallest actually came from a black guy and a white guy.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, April. I mean, not like I've done tons of research as well, but I'm not one to like take one person or one little sample out of the whole pool and say, okay, that's the norm for everyone. So I had to go and test this out because like that, like, so yeah.
For
So
science.
for science, yes, for science, we have to do things for science. And it's very important because I am the kind of person like I want to do the experiment. So I have the hypothesis. I learned this in 8th grade science. And then you have to go test out the hypothesis. And then you have to go and do the experiment, and you have to come back with your findings and say, was it true or not true? So the two races that I hear the stereotypes about are Asian and Black.
Mhm.
And I think we know what we're talking about. There's the one end of the spectrum is Asian, and the other end of the spectrum is Black. And so I had to go and test out this theory, this. So I'm like with you, April, it's not true. There's like plenty on this spectrum, this end of the spectrum, and on this end of the spectrum. And, let's just say that maybe the biggest was not an Asian, but also the smallest was not an Asian.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so it kind of, I did my own experiment and I busted through those myths. And I have to say, right now, I don't really give enough what your size or your color, whatever it is, as long as you have that big D energy, that's what I'm about.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Claire, I would say our friend Sunny, friend of the pod, he is a scientist, and he would say absolutely, you can't have a small sample size. You can't
Yes.
be like, oh, 5, and now I've made a decision. You need to have a good pool of controlled data.
Variables. Yeah, absolutely. And you have to have like different controls and different you gotta, do the different mix and match arrangements.
In
Mix
cold
and
weather
match.
and warm weather, you got to test out the environment, right? All in the
Is
name
it
of science.
is it different like with alcohol, without alcohol, like early in the
Yeah.
morning, late at night? Does food have any kind of influence?
Grower versus
Show,
shower, like is
yeah.
that
The temperature in the room, like,
Yes, yes, all very important.
I think that's very important. I know. Well, you'll have to get back to us, Claire, because I mean, I don't know, like, there are no Black guys in Korea, and now I'm in a committed
What?
relationship. Like, is my chance for that portion of the experiment over? I don't know. So, Claire, you will have to do for science for us. You'll have to do the research. You too,
Jenna,
April.
nothing's impossible, okay? You just have to use your imagination and be open-minded. That's all I'm gonna say.
oh,
Kind of
open-minded.
encouragement that we like. See, Nate, women like to validate, encourage. It's like, it's not impossible, Jenna. You get out there, girl.
Before we run out of time, are you going to go to a Jim
Well,
Jabong when you go to Korea, Nate?
yes, you can get a corn dog on the street and then go to a ginger bomb.
I don't know what a ginger bong is,
It's the
so maybe.
spa where you can go. We talked about it in one of the episodes, remember?
Yeah, not gonna do
No,
that.
no.
No.
But you are going to
Zero.
try a corn dog, right? Corn dog on a stick.
Yeah,
Very
oh,
Korean.
for sure. Definitely going to try food and stuff like that. So, but no, I have zero plans to go to a Korean spa in Korea or in the United States. That is still a no-fly zone. Um, I will, I'll be staying away from the spas while I'm in
All
Korea.
right, all right. Just
How are
thought
you
we'd
feeling?
ask. Yeah.
Yeah, how are you feeling about potentially coming over here soon?
It's a weird set of mixed emotions, honestly. It's kind of, not sure what to expect. It's for the first week. I don't really like. I have choices, but like, there's an itinerary that I'm sure is planned out, and so, you know, the first week or so, it's kind of already mapped out for me. So I'll probably just kind of be on autopilot then. So like after the first week, that's probably when the exploring will really start happening, and that's when the trip, to me, will really take off and things like that. But yeah, I don't know. I expect to be emotional about it. I expect to be numb. I expect to be angry and frustrated and all the things that again, it's a weird thing. Like it's really not natural when you think about the grand scheme of stuff of like taking somebody from, their country and then porting like having them grow up for 40 plus years in another country, language, culture, and then suddenly taking them back there. And it's not natural. Like none of this is natural. And so, so any feelings that I have, that'll probably be the most natural. I'm sure it'll be exciting. I'm sure I'll have lots of fun. I'm sure way too much Korean food, jet lagged for so much of it and stuff like that. But it'll also be emotional, and I have no doubt that I'll probably cry a couple times, things like that. I do plan on trying to do a video series where I just record.
I think it's a great opportunity to get your airline flight paid for. And if you're able to delay your ticket, like if they are not strict about how long you can stay in country having paid for your ticket, then take full advantage of that. Because I think it is a very specific government run program. So there'll be some propaganda and Korean national stuff, but you'll be able to sort through all of that and just like use it for what it is, which is I got a free ticket over here, I got some rooms, and I'm going to use it to my full advantage. Because I think that most of the processing will come afterwards. And yeah, just drink the soju, eat the food, take full advantage of being there, and hopefully I can fly up and see you. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Like I said, who knows? Um, that's part of the adventure is that you don't till you land, till you get there. So see what happens.
Very exciting.
And how long are you going to try to stay after the first week?
So I think just talking to some people, I think the expectation is that if you're in the States, you're gonna fly out probably Saturday. You'll get there Sunday because their itinerary starts Monday.
Mm.
And so their itinerary runs Monday to Friday. My goal is to be there at least Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe even Thursday, just because I know technically you kind of gain a half a day coming back to the States. So why not try and maximize the time there? So if
Mm.
I can be there until Thursday, back to the States Wednesday, why not? You know, and try and work it that way. Um, so yeah, that'll kind of be the plan. As of now, I don't have anything set in stone. So if you are listening to this and you are in Korea and you're like, hey, I want to hang out with Nate, drop me an Instagram message and we can connect and see what happens. But I don't personally, I don't want to fill up that time with a bunch of stuff to do. Like I'm gonna just go walk around and get fucking lost and just
Yeah.
check out some things and run into whoever I run into, and just kind of go from there. I don't really have a plan. I don't really think I'm gonna do a birth search. I think this is just kind of me exploring and, going through the paces of just being in Korea.
No, that's so smart. And I actually tell people all the time not to overplan. Like just go sit on a bench in Seoul.
Yeah.
Just be there. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Be fine.
Yay.
Perfectly fine.
It'll be fine.
It's exciting. Once this airs, I will have already been to Vietnam to hang out with Claire and
Yeah.
ridden on the back of a motorbike, hopefully not died. And it's gonna be awesome.
It'll be fine. It'll be so much fun. And I just have to say, you're gonna love it. Like I have so much, I'm filled with so much joy. I go out for a walk after dinner along the Han River every night, and there's just people out, there's families out, they're singing, they're doing karaoke right next to the river. They're terrible, but I love it. They're just dancing. I mean, they're so cute. There's all these people just dancing, like on the sidewalk. And there's just so much love and just I don't know. I can't even explain it. You'll experience it. And our friend Erin just got here yesterday, so looking forward to hang out with you both. And we have some other mutual friends that are here, so they're excited for you to come as well.
I'm so excited. And Aaron is a very good karaoke slash noribanger. He is.
Oh,
We're gonna have some fun. And I keep seeing all the food the two of you are posting, so I am not gonna eat for the next 11 days in preparation. It's a very healthy way to fast. I have a new bikini, and Aaron was
Ooh.
like, "Well, here's what you do, Jenna. You get pictures of you and Claire together on the beach in your bikinis and make sure that like you haven't eaten yet and make sure Claire has eaten and then it will all balance out.
Oh, believe me, I don't even have to eat. I've got my meadow belly. I mean, come on.
I think so,
We're
Claire.
going to be taking pictures from here up. Let's
That's
just
a
say
good
that.
idea. It'll be a podcast Zoom
Yes.
call picture
Yes.
extravaganza. Meanwhile, Aaron's doing like 100, sit-ups and 100 hours of planks and whatever. So it'll be like his torso in the picture and Claire and my like heads. Yes, we have great
I
body
can't.
image issues. We joke.
I can't wait. I can't wait. It'll be soon. I am off to, in a couple of hours, heading out to Thailand. So I'm going to be hanging with the monks and we're going to be doing walking meditations and all of the things that monks do. So I'm a little scared because it's all vegetarian food, and I hear that they don't feed you that much. So I don't know. I might be starving when I come back. We'll see, but I'm excited.
How long are you going to be there?
I'll be there for a little over a week.
Okay.
Amazing. So you're gonna be super skinny by the time.
Right? Because
She's
I'll have
also not eating for
starved.
11 days.
Maybe I need to go stay at a temple. All right, I'm gonna look up a temple real quick so I can
Oh, Jenna, you look so svelte. What happened? Well, I became a monk for a few days.
the monks. It was the monks.
The monk
I want
diet.
to
Oh,
give
God.
Since we're talking about traveling, I just want to give a shout out to AKA San Francisco and Sacramento, who did a joint wine tasting at the first Korean American winemakers winery in Napa Valley. So I just got back literally last night from that. And it was so lovely. It was like a nice collab, and it was beautiful. Napa Valley is one of my favorite places on the planet, and
Me
it
too.
was really neat. So
It was
if anybody is
beautiful.
in Napa Valley, I'll put it in the show notes, is a wonderful winemaker, Korean American, and she immigrated there when she was like 27, and she's been there like in the States longer than she was in Korea. Yeah, she decided to start making
Oh,
wine, and
I
it's
love
really good.
that.
Yeah, she was
Love
great.
that.
And she's actually planning like a trip back to Korea and like bringing people. There's just like people who want to give us, a taste of Korean culture. And so it was pretty cool. So shout out to Cecil Park. She was recently featured in Forbes magazine. She's very kick-ass. And so yeah, over there in Napa. But anyway, AKA San Francisco and Sacramento did like a really cool event. And it was really cool to be there and meet all those folks welcoming this East Coast gal. So that was fun.